Hey guys, I hope you brought your sweet tooth to this video today because I got a treat for you guys. In this video, I'm going to share a mom hack with you all. I'm going to show you guys how you can take a box cake recipe and take it from just being okay to okay. And it's really easy, it's very simple, and most importantly, it's absolutely delicious. Now, before we begin, let me just insert this small, tiny, itty bitty disclaimer. The bonus recipe, the bonus ingredients that I'm adding to this box cake, do not, I repeat, do not try to use these same ingredients with a chocolate cake mix, with a carrot cake mix, with a strawberry cake mix. Different flavors require different types of manipulation. I want to make sure we hear, because I don't want nobody to be like, you know what? Regina from Tell Homemade told me to put some lemon Kool-Aid in the chocolate cake. Nah, sis, that's not what we go do. That's not what we go do. So, do you understand that? If you understand that, let's get started. First things first. The first thing you're going to need is your cake mix. We are using a Duncan Hines lemon cake mix. You need your mixing bowl. I'm going to utilize my KitchenAid mixer. Why? Because I'm lazy and I'm tired. I'm not dealing with no hand mixer today. We have a measuring cup because although we are using a box cake, you still want to make sure you measure correctly. Box cake is different from baking from scratch, but when it comes to the measurements, it's the same requirement. You have to make sure you measure accurately. If you do not, you can mess up your entire cake, your entire pie, your entire cookies. If the recipe requires 1 cup of water, don't put 1 1/4 in this cup and then pour it in your batter and think it's supposed to come out perfect, because you just made it imperfect without even realizing it. We have a knife. The reason we have a knife is because we will be slicing some lemons. I have a cheese grater. This recipe does not require cheese, but I will be adding a little lemon zest. Like I always tell you guys, use what you got. Do not go out here and purchase unnecessary items for your kitchen. If you are only going to need something for one time, it makes no sense to go buy something specifically for that purpose. It makes no sense. For example, if you're making some biscuits. Oh, I want some biscuits with dinner tonight. That's probably the only time you're going to make biscuits that year. So what sense does it make to go out and buy biscuit cutters? Girl, get you a wine glass, put a little flour around the rim and cut them biscuits. Okay? Next up, we have some powdered sugar. Very important. We are making a lemon buttercream. With any buttercream, you cannot use traditional sugar. It is a difference. We have eggs. We have some whipping cream for the icing. We have some butter, unsalted butter. Very important. You can use sweet butter or unsalted butter, but whenever you're making a dessert, never, ever, ever, ever use salted butter. Some recipes, especially if you are baking from scratch, require a pinch or 2 of salt. The last thing you want is to add that pinch or 2 of salt, then you add some salted butter, and then your dessert is completely ruined because it's salty as hell. Then we have some vegetable oil. Why? Because it's a requirement of the cake. Last, certainly not least, we have a little Kool-Aid. Don't look at me crazy. This Kool-Aid gonna work. So, we're gonna pretend like we never did this before, y'all. Okay? So, we're gonna take our cake mix. Open it up. You want to shake it. You want to shake it down because you want to make sure it's none stuck in the corners at the top. Because if anything is stuck at the corners on the top, that's an amount that's not in your batter. You may think, oh, that's just a little bit, it's not going to make a difference. It will make a huge difference. Why? Because the directions on the back of your box is for this entire bag. If a little bit is stuck at the top and you throw that away, technically this is no longer a full bag. So you're going to cut this open. Going to pour that. Into your mixing bowl. Then we're going to add our eggs. Now, when you are baking from scratch, never, ever, 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 ever mix your wet ingredients with your dry ingredients. In other words, don't put everything in your bowl at one time, because you can mess up your recipe. And you probably thinking, how if everything is in a bowl? What usually happens is, if you throw everything in the bowl at one time, like you put your flour in there, you add your baking soda, you add your baking powder, you add your sugar. What happens when we throw everything in the bowl, it's left on that one particular side. So then if we add our ingredients, nothing is mixed together. So a lot of the times you have a big clump of baking soda in one spot, and it didn't evenly distribute with your whole batter. So it's very important, if you're baking from scratch, to always mix your dry ingredients first. Put all of your dry ingredients in the bowl, mix it, then add your wet ingredients. So we're going to add 3 eggs. We're going to follow the back of this box. Make sure you don't put any shells in your cake. We don't need nobody choking, y'all. 3 eggs. They ask for 1 cup of water. It's a box cake. It doesn't matter if it's cold water, if it's hot water, it doesn't matter. But it's very important that you see this. That's too much water because it's above the red line. It should be at the red line. So we're going to pour a little bit out. A little bit more. Perfect. We'll pour that on top. It calls for a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Open your vegetable oil. Get your measuring cup. Fill it up to 1/2. Do not, again, do not go over 1/2 cup vegetable oil. We'll pour that on top. Now we're going to take our lemon Kool-Aid. This is a childhood favorite of mine, y'all. I love Kool-Aid. At 39 years old, I still will make a picture of some good old Kool-Aid. Lemon and the blueberry lemon is my favorite kind of Kool-Aid. What's your favorite kind? We're not going to pour all of this Kool-Aid into the batter. We're just going to pour like less than a 1/2 inch. If you're not sure about your measurements, just get you some measuring spoons. Then we're going to take our cheese grater, aka zester for this video, and we're going to zest this lemon. About a 1/2 teaspoon of lemon zest. Again, if you're not sure about your measurements, if you don't trust your eye to eye your measurements correctly, just use some measuring spoons. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're zesting, I say get a paper towel, zest on top of the paper towel. There we go. Zest on top of the paper towel, then use your measuring spoon to scoop up a 1/2 teaspoon. Now that we mix this, we're going to put this in our mixer, mix it up, and then we're going to pop it in the oven, y'all. Y'all smell that? It smells so lemony. That's not even a word, but that's what it smells like. You ever smell like some lemon pencil? I know I shouldn't be comparing desserts to clean and surprise, but have you ever opened it and it smells just so heavenly? That's what this is giving me right now, y'all. It smells so. Our cake is mixing. You want to make sure when you put your batter in your bowl, you want to make sure you lock your KitchenAid, and you want to make sure your bowl is locked, because if it's not, batter will be everywhere. So while we're mixing the batter, I have my oven warming at 350. We're going to line our cupcake pan with cupcake liners. And I know I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to say this. If you're making cupcakes, you need a cupcake pan. Do not try to make some cupcakes in a cookie sheet. It's amazing the things you see on social media. If you try to make some cupcakes on a flat pan or a cake pan by just putting your cupcake liner in that pan, it's going to be like that. You're going to put your batter in there, and then once it starts cooking, this is going to happen. It's going to become flat because it has nothing around it to support the shape. And if it becomes flat like this, now you're going to have a huge mess in your oven. So this batter makes a little over a dozen. I hate wasting batter, so I'm going to make all of the cupcakes, and I'll just give the other dozen away. So our cupcakes are finished mixing. I'm going to take a bowl or saucer. We'll take it up. We'll put our saucer on the mixer. That way it won't drip all over your counter. Then I'm going to take a measuring scoop. Scoop your batter. Transfer it halfway to your cupcake liner. Fill your scoop. Transfer halfway to your cupcake liner. And I'm going to repeat this step. And when I'm done, I'll be back. So while our cupcakes are in the oven, we're going to work on the icing. We're going to take 1 cup of butter, which is 2 sticks. You want to make sure it's room temperature. You want it soft, but not melted. Going to pop that in your mixer. Get you some lemon extract, about a half a teaspoon. Add your attachment. Lock it. Turn it on. While that's spinning, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of whipping cream. I'm sorry, heavy cream. Then you are going to gradually add 4½ cups of powdered sugar. This part can get a little messy, so if you have the clear cover for your mixer, use that, or just take a towel, a kitchen towel, and just wrap it around. That way your sugar won't go everywhere. So let's add our first cup powdered sugar. See how it's a little over? That's too much. What I say, exact measurement. So we're going to take a little off the top. 1 cup. Put that in there. Close it. Lock it. Take your kitchen towel so it won't fly everywhere. Turn it on. And you're going to repeat those steps until you include 4.5 cups of powdered sugar. So now we have a nice and fluffy buttercream. You're going to take your lemon, slice it in half, and you're going to squeeze a little lemon juice in your buttercream. You can either use your hand, make sure your hands is clean. You can use your hand and squeeze it like so. That way you can catch any seeds, so you won't have any seeds in your buttercream. Or you can use a strainer like me, just put it right on top, squeeze the lemon juice just a little, turn it back on for maybe 5 more seconds on high. And remember, the rest of that Kool-Aid we used earlier, just sprinkle less than a teaspoon in there, put it on high, 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your buttercream is done. So now while our cupcakes cool, you want to make sure your cupcakes are cooled down before you even consider putting your icing on top. If not, your icing definitely will melt. If you have room in your refrigerator, I suggest you just popping them in your refrigerator for maybe 10 minutes or so, and that will help it cool down. So while those are cooling, we are going to make our topping. So I have some fresh fruit. We have some strawberries, some blueberries, some blackberries, and I think it may be a couple of raspberries in here. And we have a bowl. We're going to slice these in 4s. Well, your strawberries in 4s because those are kind of big. Just slice those in 4s. Your blueberries, they're tiny. You don't have to slice those. Slice your blackberries in half. Again, slice your strawberries in 4s. Once you do that, we're going to sprinkle a little sugar. It's not an exact measurement. Just a tiny bit. Sprinkle that on top. We're going to get us a spoon. We're going to mix it up. It's going to be more fruit than this. This is just to show you guys. Then we are going to take some blackberry thyme maple syrup by Tella Homemade. You can order this from our website. We're going to sprinkle that on top like so. Mix it. We're going to sit this in the fridge to cool, and then once we ice our cupcakes, we're going to top our cupcakes with this, and it's going to be absolutely delicious, y'all. So let's grab our cupcakes. Now we're going to ice them. I transferred the buttercream into a piping bag. I wish I had a longer one because this is going to get messy. So you're just going to squeeze it. You see it coming out at the end. And just ice it. Push it down a little bit. This is a perfect exercise to do with your children. Allow them to help you make some buttercream, especially since school is virtual. A great idea is to have like a home ec class. I don't think they have that in high school anymore. I remember when I was in high school, we had home ec. I don't think my daughter took that. Then you're going to take your fruit mixture. I'm going to shake a little allspice on top. Just a little. Mix it up. Oh gosh, that smells so good. Just going to top your cupcake with your dessert. Go ahead and sprinkle some of that syrup on it. It's really pretty. And that is it. You have a really quick, a really simple box cake recipe upgraded. When was the last time your box cake looked like this? That's the question of the day. When was the last time your box cake looked like this? I'm going to ice the rest of these cupcakes, and I am going to see you guys, stick that right there, in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and like always, from my table to yours. Bye guys.